Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DMD's video interview with Roman Faraldo. Roman Faraldo is actually a Phi Delta Theta from the Florida State University with Drake and myself, and he's currently about to go fight his second fight for the Bellator mixed martial arts promotion. If you're not familiar with his name, you will be soon. He's currently 4-0 professionally in mixed martial arts, 1-0 in Bellator, and he's looking to make that 2-0 against some dude they call the Scarecrow tomorrow night. It was really awesome sitting down, chopping it up with Roman, talking mostly about his fight and his preparation and how he went from being a young kid in the Keys to fighting on national television. It's going to be a great fight. Can't wait to watch him knock this dude out. Check it out. Friday, April 2nd, 9 p.m., either on Showtime, or if you don't have that, it'll be broadcast on Bellator's YouTube channel. So Max, Drake, Rome, over to you guys.
So Rome, quick question. So basically I saw your interview, I think it was a few years ago. I think it was your first pro fight back in Hollywood at some of the Hard Rock. And I saw that you're you're wearing your Island Bread t-shirt and everything. You're very pro Key West. You're very, proud of where you're from. It's like, what does it mean, like, for someone like you to come from a small town down in the Keys, having all your friends and family, cheering you on now one of the biggest stages in the sport, Bellator?
I mean, it's surreal, bro. At the end of the day, like, especially as a kid, you imagine doing these things and like imagine being there. And then when you're actually there on the big stage, and then not only on the big stage, but you do exactly what you planned on doing. You go out there, you get a highlight reel knockout. And not only is it a highlight reel knockout, but in the manner that you had planned. Like it's pretty cool. I got some footage of us going over that knee. That was the game plan. And it's just surreal, man. And then again, to go back when I go back home and everybody's like, man, you're really doing it. We're so, proud, and, you got people messaging you and telling you're inspiring me to go out and train, and just, it's surreal, man. It's an awesome feeling. It's motivating, and, it's encouraging, and just makes you want to do better, to be honest.
And that's awesome that, you're telling me that you're practicing the knockout. Cause I'm a big, as you know, like I entered for the UFC for like 6 months, and I watched one of your, teammates, one of your mentors in Jorge Masvidal. He knocked out Ben Askren in basically almost the same exact fashion to it. And like, he was doing the same thing. How much did you try to learn of that, like from that sort of style of his fighting?
Well, again, like that. So that our style, like basically that style is, it comes from our striking coach, Paulino Hernandez.
Paulino. Mm-hmm.
Basically, he comes from a karate background, and like he's from Cuba, the Olympic teams, and came over here and then used that karate style and actually morphed it into MMA. It's kind of crazy because I use so much boxing. You wouldn't see the karate necessarily in my style, but the movement, the breaking time, like the breaking of like rhythm and timing, and all that is actually very, very based on his like karate style, like his distance and his timing. That's all karate background, and it all comes from Paulino, man. And that knee, it's the reason why it looks so similar is because inevitably it's the same knee. It's just thrown at a different time. Like George Jorge came out and chucked it, and Ben ducked right into it. I had to set it up a little bit more, like I had to. So,
well, Ben's a wrestler, he kind of still, I think it's funny when people get tired, I feel like they always go back to their roots. And when Askren gets tired, he kind of does that like chin forward, shoulders, and yeah.
That's that wrestling. And the guy that I fought too was also a wrestler background. So we knew that once when we had him hurt, game plan, touch him, make him, shrivel up a little bit. Yep. Once I got him on his back foot, you seen him, I cracked him. And then he started moving back to the cage. Once when I realized that his foot was to the back of the cage and he couldn't go anywhere, his next move inevitably was gonna be a shot. So it was, again, that was just a timing thing, and I seen the opportunity present itself, and I threw it. So it was really cool to finish the fight like that.
It's interesting you say the karate background, because watching you fight, the minute you say that, it clicks, right? You are very much like, I may not phrase this well, but because I relate everything to wrestling, because that was my background. You're very much a stand your ground and like a slow close in fighter. Like I think about that double leg defense when he tried to shoot on you. You don't, and I mean this in the best way, like your takedown defense isn't flashy. It's just like, you know, oh, he's not getting the double leg. He's not making any progress on the double leg. You know, you're just kind of that consistent. You keep a good stance, you keep moving slowly forward, and then you kind of explode. You know, and it's funny, you don't hear a ton of karate in MMA, but I'm curious about your background. Cause like, I remember back, you know, in Fight Out and stuff at FSU, you know, it was like, I knew you were a mixed martial artist from the beginning. So in like high school, did you start immediately into mixed martial arts, or did you like wrestle first, or how'd you kind of get into it?
So, I mean, as a kid, I always loved boxing. Boxing was my first love as far as any like combative sport. I loved boxing as a kid, man. You know, I remember the first guy I actually watched fight in a boxing match was Mike Tyson. And I had to sneak downstairs to watch it, and my dad sent me back upstairs. He had a bunch of friends over, and I'm like, I want to watch this. And sure enough, like by the time I snuck downstairs, the fight was already over because Mike Tyson was just knocking everybody out in the first round. And he was, you know, I was like, dude, I want to do some stuff like that. So I got into boxing, and then in high school, I remember one of my buddies, that I grew up with, he was wrestling in summer, the summer going into high school, and the little guy, man, my buddy Matt, he was a little guy. He was able to take me down and control me. I was like, what is this? So I was like, I can't have this. I can't have this happening. So then I got into wrestling, and I mean, I loved it, you know, and, but yeah, it just kind of took off from there. And then once when I got to FSU, and I actually went up there for rugby initially. I mean, combative and contact sports, I've always loved it. And then once I got up there, I met up with a buddy, and he was into MMA. And, you know, I had what little background I did have, but once I started the gym, man, I just loved it. I was like, you know, this is what I'm gonna do. I played with it a lot. That between that school and working, it was a very serious hobby that at that point I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but I know I'm gonna pursue this because it makes me happy. I didn't give myself in a sense like, oh, I'm gonna go here at this time at that point. But after college, when I got out, it was when I left FSU, it was like, all right, this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna dedicate my time to being the best fighter I could possibly be. And then I jumped around, man. I was in Atlanta, I was in South Florida. I went up to Milwaukee for a little bit. I went to Chicago for a little bit. I was just training at different places. I was all throughout South Florida. I've been at multiple gyms in South Florida. And, I found a home with a gentleman about 4 years ago, Daniel Mendez, and another guy named Jay-Z Cavalcante, who was at one time like the best lightweight in the world, you know. And Daniel, really, I clicked with Daniel. Me and Daniel, like he was my Muay Thai coach. And I spent like 3 years with him, where it was just just working every day consistently. And then in that time, ironically, my cousin Juan Carlos Faraldo, who will be in my corner for this fight, was in my corner last fight, and was in my corner for my pro debut. He was, throughout all this time as a kid, there was always this. A lot of people know he was Jorge's strength and conditioning coach. And as a kid, I just remember like, yo, if we're gonna train with him, I'm not gonna like bullshit. I'm gonna be with him, and I'm gonna like, work my ass off, And when I finally hit him up, he came to an amateur fight of mine for my first amateur title fight. And he's like, bro, you got that stuff, man. And he hooked me up with Paulino Hernandez. And Paulino, man, I just clicked with him. I like nothing but nothing. I just clicked with him. He had my style, what I was trying to accomplish. He didn't try to change my game. He just tried to like, all right, what do you have? Let's make it better, And I've meshed with him so well in the last 3 years. I've been really like, I had this, I wouldn't say flip flop, but I was with Daniel and with Paulino, and my striking just went straight through the roof. And, at some point I realized, all right, my striking's there. I say it confidently, I can strike with anybody in the world. But I need to feel my game. I need to round my game out. You need to be well versed in this game. So I made the move to American Top Team in October of last year. And man, again, that's been such a impactful time. this change of gyms has been huge impact in my game, because I've just been working with countless amount of like just top level wrestlers and jiu-jitsu guys. It's also been at the same time, like, you're getting work, man. Like you got to put yourself, bro. You go from the, being the big fish in the pond to, the little fish in the ocean.
You're like in the ocean. Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
Sink or swim. You got it. You're either about it or you're not about it. So you just got to suck it up, man. I knew what I was getting myself into. We got guys that have been wrestling for 16 years. And like, my wrestling isn't that pedigree. So it was just like, yo, you're going to get work for a little bit, whatever. On striking days, I'm going to get him back. Sure enough, I did. So there was reassurance in me going there as well. Like, all right, I need to work on my wrestling, but my striking's there, because at the end of the day, I'll strike with anybody in the world.
Is that hard to do too, as even as you're getting into the professional game, is just to remind yourself that like, you got to work on the shit you're not good at. You can't just go in there, because you're a great striker. I remember going back 6-7 years, I remember we were talking about you one time, and, we're just talking about how it's interesting you say you came up with for rugby, because, I remember saying like the difference with you and a lot of kids that, just kind of do the MMA is like, you're kind of built like a D1 athlete. You've got the size, you can move, and then you've translated that to fighting versus being like, hey, maybe this is the only sport that works for me, and I'm going to try to make it in this. But how hard is it to not just want to be the big dog on the striking floor and remind yourself like, Rome, got to focus on wrestling, got to work on the shit we're not good at? Like, is that a tough balance?
I think it just comes to being like, it really comes back to just humbling yourself, because that is like, dude, I know I can do this good. So what am I, you're talking to yourself, you're in a monologue. What am I proving here by trying to outstrike these guys on a day-to-day basis? All right, you're a better striker. Great. He took you down 3 times. He still won the round. You're inevitably, you're still losing. So it's just about just being real with yourself, bringing it down to a baseline. All right, like, look, this is what we got to do. And on top of it, it's like, yo, you want to be a striker? All right, go be a kickboxer. It's like, or go be a boxer. It's like, what's my sport? Inevitably, I'm an MMA. I'm a mixed martial artist. So, and in the name, you got to be a mixed martial artist. You have to be able to mix it up. You got to be well versed. So I think that just what it really comes down to is just being honest with yourself and what you're doing. What am I doing right now? I'm a mixed martial artist. I'm a great striker. I'm an above average grappler. I need to work on that. I need to be able to wrestle the wrestlers. That's always like the mentality. If I can out wrestle a wrestler, then they're screwed. So.
Well, you're at ATT, which is like do you go to the one in Coconut Creek, or you're the one in Miami for ATT?
Coconut Creek. All
right, so that's like, I live in the development like behind that. That's actually my hometown right there. I'm from Coconut Creek right there. I think half the reason I got the job was like my last name is Silva, and I'm from Coconut Creek anyways. So one of the big things I remember, you fought with Combat Night, like for your amateur fights and everything. I remember that was the big promotion in Tallahassee, and then I saw you had a few championship fights there. You were the welterweight champion there for a time. I remember your last fight, I think, was against one of your last was against Luca Cortez back then, and then you jump into the pro scene. You had the Titan FC fight, and then you had the Bellator fight. So what was the transition like for you to go from like the amateur circuit up into to your pro debut with Titan FC and then Bellator?
Well, what was great about that was I spent a lot of time just working and honing my skills and just putting in the time, man, to really make the jump. I believe the biggest shift there is the timing. So the rounds change. You go from fighting, as a championship fight in an amateur is 5 3-minute rounds.
Mm-hmm.
You go from fighting 5 3-minute rounds to 3 5-minute rounds. So those shortening those periods is huge, man. You can go out. I can fight. Dude, I can do 23-minute rounds and and be fresh. But that extra 2 minutes on the round really does a difference as far as pacing yourself through the round, as far as what you're trying to accomplish in the round. So the biggest transition there was the timing in the rounds. And I would say inevitably just the mindset. Like, all right, listen, I'm a professional. at the end of the day. Like, this is not like, even as an amateur, when I really decided to, all right, I'm going to pursue this and this is going to be what I'm going to do as a career, I always, as an amateur, went at it as, or approached it as a professional mindset. Look, I'm going to be the best I can be. I'm going to be, as disciplined as I can with this. But, again, when you sign those papers, man, like, you're a professional, act like a professional, go about your business as a professional, diet properly, train, don't, weekends, man, like, inevitably, you have choices to make, sacrifices. What are you going to do? Are you going to train? You're going to diet, and you're going to have a social life? You got to, you're going to get something up, man. The social life had to go. I don't go out on weekends. It's Friday. My roommate's getting ready right now to go out. He just made a big deal, and he's going to go celebrate. Hey, Bubba, have fun. I'm going to sit here on the couch. I'm going to log down what I got my notes where I got all my logs in.
Okay.
What I trained and what I do for the day. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to log down what I did. I'm going to go over what I did good, what I did bad. How can I improve? Just
wait. Hang on. I want to go through that, because I've never seen that in depth. So tell us about your logs. What do you write down, like your whole training session, like strike, worked on this? What do you log during the day?
Honestly, it all varies from the day, but like, you'll go through a day, man. And, for instance, like, you'll go through a day. I'll show you something.
Yeah.
And you'll, you can log what we did. This is March 1st, Mako wrestling. You start with, I get there, I'm always there an hour early. So you start with your stretch, 45 minutes. Then you go into your pummels, and, you're striking into singles and doubles, and you just go through your progressions, and as you work down, then I'll write a little log here, what I did well for the day, what, how can I improve, or what I should have done. Then I'll do my strength and conditioning, what I did for strength and conditioning, and how I finished the day, how I felt for the day,
And that'll help you just kind of process everything and cement it in your brain. Yeah.
And then and the best part is, you go back, like, as you're writing, and you go back and you see, like, all right, the beginning of my camp, I felt fatigued. I was super sore. My body wasn't responding well. A couple of weeks in, all right, I'm feeling better. Things are clicking. Coming to the end of my camp, bro, I'm firing on all cylinders. My strikes are landing. My takedown defense is on point. My conditioning feels great. I'm getting in more rounds than I ever have. I'm used to sparring like 6 rounds. Now I'm doing anywhere from 8 to 10 rounds a day. And that's just sparring. Nobody ever spars that much. I'm consistently doing 10 rounds every day, working, conditioning. It's like, you see the growth through the periods. And as you're writing it down, not only mentally are you like clicking in your monologue, like, all right, I'm doing good, I'm doing better, I'm doing, but you see the progressions, like, yo, I'm putting in the work, baby, like Marvin Harris, feeding the faith, starving the doubt, I'm just putting in the work, man, and just little things like that, man, just writing it down, it goes so far, and it's also reassuring, like, it's not even that big of it's really not that big of a deal, but writing it down does something for you mentally. It makes me feel like I have an edge. Like, dude, I'm not, I'm logging all my stuff. Like,
I do a way less version of that, but I still, it's funny. I'll show you, I guess. Can you show me? Everyone at home that's one of the fans. I've got the calendar, so I write down like what exercise I did for the day, right? And like, I'm reading like the 1 year Bible, where you read the verse, you get a verse from each testament each day. So I write down when I do that, and I write down if I didn't drink that day, I write down no alcohol, and it just, same thing, man. It just helps. You look back, I look back at like February, it's like, okay, I hit the gym, like 15, 20 times.
Reassured, bro. I'm like that. And sometimes, when you're feeling, you're feeling like crap or whatever, it's like, dude, I'm doing my stuff. There's a reason why I feel this way. It's not because I feel like crap or I'm not doing work. It's because I've been putting in work. My body's a little run down. All right. Yeah. No, recognize that.
And are we allowed to ask, like, what's your cut like? Like, are we allowed to ask that? Like, what do you walk around at, and what do you like? What's your cut like?
My cut's simple, man. I've been staying consistently around 185. Oh, okay. I was like usually this time of my camp, I kind of changed up my diet a little bit, because my last fight I was running a little light, man. I was like fluctuating at like 180. I would go to practice like 81. I'd drop under 80. I'd be like 78. My body just was achy. When you're that light,
Wasn't feeling that good either. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I had like no insulation on my body, so changed up my diet a little bit. Started eating more, adding a couple of shakes to the diet, and been walking around consistently around 185. But I finished practice, I'm down to 180, 181, and that's right where I like to sit. And like I'll be leaving Sunday. I'm waking up at like 82. I'll be leaving so I leave Sunday at night, and then Monday morning I'll probably be again 81. Wednesday night I'll get myself down to 75, and then I'll finish the cut Thursday morning. So it's a very easy cut for me, and I think a lot of people we always as fighters, especially when you're in the gym, that's a big question. How's your weight? Where's your weight at? How much do you have to cut? Like, what's even your weight class? And a lot of that, man, for me is like, dude, fight where you walk around at. Like, if I could, nothing for nothing. I train with a bunch of 85ers, right? The only reason why I don't fight at 85 is because my cut to 70 is very simple. It doesn't affect my body in a negative manner. Like, legit, I walk around at 83, so it's not a big deal. I would if I could, I would fight at 75 if there was a division right there.
Yeah,
but
that's been
I don't like to cut weight. Like at the end of the day,
no one does.
No, exactly. But a lot of guys, I feel like they inhibit their abilities as fighters because they cut weight. They cut too much weight, I should say. And it's like, you're a fighter, man. You got to think about it like logically. If you spent your entire camp training, right? You've been training at, let's say me, I train at 183 pounds, right? Why am I going to fight at 170 pounds? Like if I was to cut to 55, there's no way I'd put that weight back on. My body wouldn't adjust properly. A lot of these guys, they'll cut 20, 25 pounds and they end up fighting at a weight that they don't even train at. Like I cut my 10 pounds. It takes me 36 hours for the most part. I cut it and I put it right back on. It has like minimum effect. I'm a fighter. Let's fight, bro. Whatever. Let's fight. You want to be the guy I'm fighting? He's 6'7". You want to cut a bunch of weight, bro? That's gonna hurt you in the long. Yeah, he's longer than me. He's 6'7". He's gonna be a little hard to reach, but inevitably that body's gonna be there. He's gonna be a little malnourished. He's not gonna have it. I'm gonna be me on the other hand. I'm gonna be fresh. I'm gonna be ready to go. I'm a dog.
He's gonna have that sunken in kind of feeling. Like I've seen some of these fighters that do drain themselves before the fight. Like I remember one example is like Darren Till, who like just moved up to 185. He was fighting at 170. He walks around. I think I've seen him around 195, 200 pounds. And when you cut down a 30-pound weight, you lose your speed that you want to keep, and you lose your strength. And when you get popped, you get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, man. I would say Darren Till walks around probably in like 205, 210. He's a big boy. He's an 85er. He's a true 85er, man. He's like 6'3", probably 210. I got a funny story from my last fight. I was cutting weight, same scenario. My cut went super easy. And my training's on point. When your training's on point, the weight comes off, you're prepared, you're just cutting water. But my training's on point. I already know what I have to do. I cut my weight, and like the day of the weigh-ins, I'm sitting there jump roping the super bad, James Brown, feeling good, running back and forth, up and down, screaming, woo, I'm ready to go. The guy next to me, and they had these sectored off, and they have your little mat. The guy next to me, his coach is carrying him. The guy's like, he can't stand on his own 2 feet. And the coach actually is like catching an attitude with me because like I have a bunch of energy and I'm happy and I'm upbeat. He's like, yo, what's your deal? Like, why are you so happy? Like, bro, it's fight day. What do you mean it's weighing, bro? I'm about to step on the scale. Like, meanwhile, his student can't even stand on his feet. And it's like, what are you doing there? Inevitably, you're hurting yourself, man. You're not helping yourself cutting that weight like that.
And that's coaching though, I think, bro. Like I remember, so it's funny to talk about this in high school. I was that guy, I had a coach who was very much believed like it was a weight cutting contest. So I was probably I was shorter than I grew a bit in college, but I was like 5'8", 5'9". I'd come in on Mondays at 145 and cut down to 130. And it's like, I remember at regionals, like getting on, just sitting there at weigh-ins, like dead. And I was that kid that had to try to do all that. And the best ones like that go on to state and stuff, most of them aren't sucking that much weight, but I think some of it's like the coach has to recognize that and be like, hey, you can't stand, like, you know, I'm sure they hit him with an IV and they get him rehydrated. And it's like, is he really that much stronger at that weight class to make it worth losing that much energy? I don't know.
Are you going to perform? And inevitably, is this going to hinder or better your performance? And the difference in wrestling too, you wrestle on the same day you weigh in.
Yeah, like 2 hours before.
Yeah, at least for us,
That
we have
sucks.
24 hours to
True.
rehydrate, do all that stuff. You know, like I could, and that's my thing too. Like I cut that weight, bro. I was ready to go right then. So I know the weight doesn't affect me. That weight cut doesn't affect me like that. So that's a big thing for me. I'm just cutting water. Like if you want, I could have fought on cut day. I'm ready to go all time. So it's like you just said, I totally agree with you there. Like, is that going to help or hinder your performance?
When you look at a kid like this that you're fighting, you know, and he's sitting there at 6'7", you know, he's got that tall lankiness. I mean, what challenge does that present? I mean, what's the scariest thing about fighting someone that's, I mean, 6'7" is tall for literally any weight class, but especially at 170. What's the biggest challenge and the biggest threat there?
Well, inevitably, you know, just the range, being able to work your striking, you know, or I wouldn't say work your striking, just work your game plan. You gotta be able to find your ins and outs. So his range, man, his size is a big advantage in there. That's why we have weight classes, and that's why for the most part you see guys relatively around the same size. But at the same time, I believe his stature is also, as much as it is a benefit for him, a positive, it's also a negative. When you got 6 inches on people in your division, you know, I'm 6'1". He has 6 inches on me. When you got 6 inches on somebody and you're cutting weight down to my weight class, brother, you're taken away from your abilities, man.
Mm-hmm.
And some would say, like, you know, I've heard some people say 6 inches is actually too long. You know, like that. Some people say that's too much, and it's actually better. You know, 4 inches is better.
He should be. Personally, you know, a guy like when I see a guy that's 6'7" and he's fighting at 178 pounds, the way I look at that, I look at it as he's too scared to fight at 185 pounds.
I mean, that's insane. That's like, so my general rule of thumb, and this is back more to the college lifting days of 6'1", 205. I always proportioned it out to about 10 pounds per inch. Like, I always figure a 6'1", 170 is about a 6 foot 160. It's not exact science, but like, you know, you'd think 6'7", you should walk around at 220, 230, and that's lean. Like you would expect him to be a heavyweight. So,
and you see this guy too. He is really skinny with that too.
No, I was gonna say at least a middleweight, like 185. Like you want to cut all that weight to 85, be my guest. But like, you know, like I said, man, we're fighters, bro. Like you're gonna cut a bunch of weight because you think you have an advantage, but I hit just as hard and I'm going to be fresh, you know? So it's like, what are you really doing? You're just inevitably, to me, you're telling me that you're too scared to fight at that weight class. So you're doing everything you can to give yourself the advantage. And that's a weak mentality. It's a weak mentality, especially when it comes to a fight. Like the fact that you won't fight where you should be. I'm going to cut weight, or I'm going to do everything I can so I have an advantage. Bro, I have no advantage. I fight at my weight class. My advantage is me. My skills and my preparation. So
100%, dude.
So you're born for this weight class, whereas the guy you're fighting next weekend is just like he's just a visitor right there, and your plan is to basically just take care of that business right there.
I think so. I think so.
So you talk about the mentality, you know, and I think he's going to find out pretty quickly that, you know, look, you can't duck good fighters. I mean, if you can cut all the weight in the world. I found this out the hard way. Conor McGregor, you're going to run into him if you go down one more weight class. You know, you're going to run into Manny Pacquiao if you go down to 135 pounds or whatever. But talking about your mentality going into a fight, you're a dog. You're a hard hitter. You've knocked everyone out that you fought. I'm curious how you prepare for the inevitable first fight where you go into the third round. You know it's a split decision. How do you mentally remind yourself that, like, you know, not to get over eager, not to get over anxious, and remind yourself like, hey, this could turn into a decision, and how do you prepare for that in camp?
You know, I think more so just game plan. You know, if inevitably, all right, if this fight, you know, like you said, you just finished 2 rounds and it's 1-1, you still keep that dog mentality. But but it's like, all right, no, we have a job to do. We got to get after it. And if we can't finish them, we better win, like inevitably, it's crazy in there. Words can't express the feelings that are in there when you're, when your rival is your equal.
Mhm.
And like when I equal in like heart, skills, ability and drive, like that goes a long way, man. When it's rare to see, like you'll see a guy that has, good chin, he has a heart, but he doesn't have the skills. Or somebody has the skills, he has the abilities, but he doesn't have the heart. And but when you have a guy who, not only does he have the heart, he has the will to keep pushing, he has the skills, he has the ability, he has the mindset, and then you see that and you see his equal and they match, bro. You know it. There's a feeling there. Words you don't need words at that point. I know what you're about, and you know what I'm about. So it comes down to just, honestly, just who wants it just that much more, man. Just it's inches, man. It's literally, it comes down to just like, it's a grind, bro. Who's gonna push? Like you get that feeling where your body doesn't want to respond, and it's like, nah, I'm gonna keep going. I want it more. So it's crazy. It's not that that's really answering the question, but it's like,
I love it.
No, actually that's a great answer, because mainly like the one thing that me and Max like talked about before this was like one thing I noticed with your fights, all your pro fights have ended with either a KO or a TKO, and none of your fights have actually hit the 10-minute mark. Your fights average, I don't know if you know, there's like 9 minutes a fight, which is basically just a little bit under 2 rounds total. So then that brings me to the first fight you had in Bellator. Like, what was it like? Kind of like one thing that you do see with fighters, like when they make the big stage to a big promotion like that, is they have the pre-fight jitters. Did you have anything like that when you first stepped into that? Because like I don't know, from my personal perspective, I don't know how Max feels about this, but seeing you in the second round, you looked calm. I could see how bouncy you were feeling and everything. So how did you feel going into that cage?
Yeah, I would say there's definitely anxiousness in there, because like, you're making the walk, and again, too, even coming back to like when we first got on the chat, it's like, it's a surreal moment, man. You're walking the runway, man. I'm walking the runway at Bellator. I've had plans of this. Like, this was my goal. Like, I was going to fight my amateur. I was going to win these fights. I was going undefeated. That was my goal as an amateur. I checked all these boxes, before I got there. I checked my amateur. I'm going to win 3 belts. Checked it. I'm going to debut. Win. Boom. Check. And then, all right, the call's coming. I'm prepared. Like, I know I'm ready. I have the reassurance of the guys that I'm training with. They've already done this. They have amazing records. And I'm working with these guys, and I'm able to, I'm not going to say compare, but I'm able to see where they're at in their career. I'm able to see where I'm at in my career. So I have reassurance that I know I have my abilities to walk in here and perform. But it's still surreal. You're walking down the runway and you see Bellator on the carpet, and you're seeing Monster on the canvas, and I'm like looking at all these things. I remember I caught myself in the first round, like looking like registering, like, oh, that's Modelo. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That I'm, that's on the canvas.
Well, dude, like, it doesn't matter who you are, bro. Like, there's that, you're like,
it's cool,
like,
man.
You're a human, there is that moment of like, holy shit, I've watched Bellator, I've watched UFC on TV for a decade, and oh, wait, no, that's me at Bellator 252. Like, I'm hopping in that cage right now.
You look in the gloves and you got the bees in your damn. I was like, oh,
so
this is dope.
What does it take? I'm curious, because like, you're probably more chill than I was, and that's why I'm not a professional at anything. But what does it take to knock out the pre-fight jitters? Is it the first time you land a good strike? Is it that first, they hit you and you're like, all right, let's do this, buddy? Like, when do the pre-fight jitters completely go away, and it's just like that tunnel vision of you and him, and let's win the fight?
I will say, for me, it was a right hand. I got hit with a right hand. I was moving, and like I felt myself tense. Like, I was really locked. I was pushing my punches. I wasn't snapping. I wasn't at like that first minute and a half. I was still like getting my range down. And then he hit me with a right hand. I faked, and I got stuck on my lead leg, and he hit me with a right hand, and I said, I shook it out. I said, what am I doing, bro? And I remember like it was halfway through the first round, and I started just trying to loosen up a little bit. And then I was able to get my distance, and I found my timing a little bit. And I was like, yo, relax, bro. Like, how many times have you done this? And I went into the corner, and it's funny too, that second round, I felt so comfortable going into the second round. I remember I clipped him at the end of the first. So I really started finding my flow at the end of the first round. And then going into the second round, I was like, bro, this is just another day. I don't even know what I'm stressing about. I'm supposed to be here, you know? And a thing I always tell myself, I told myself this, I want to say it was my first amateur championship fight that I fought. I remember looking across the cage and I'm like, you know, we're here right now. This is real. Like, you're here. Be in the moment. Like, 15 minutes for the rest of your life. And I always reiterate that to myself. 15 minutes for the rest of your life. What are you prepared to do for the next 15 minutes? That shit is gonna echo through eternity. You know, like, not to get too, you know.
No, but that shit's gonna be on the internet. It's gonna be on your fight card. I used to think the same thing when I was cutting weight. I remember I used to tell myself, I was like, and again, I wish I hadn't cut as much, but the funny part I didn't mention earlier is, of course, my training partner was our 145, and I used to beat him up and down the mat. He went and wins regions. I'm like, well, had I not, you know. But anyway, point is, you know, I remember I used to tell myself, like, you're not gonna miss this food in 10 years. You're not gonna be thirsty in 10 years. Like, and it was so funny the first time I realized, like, oh yeah, it's been 10 years since my sophomore year. It's been 10 years since my junior year. I'm like, yeah, I'm not hungry anymore. Not thirsty. Yeah. I don't look as shredded as I did then, but, like, you know, it is that moment of, like, you know,
you still got it.
I got it for a dad. Man. You know, for a dad, I've got it. But, you know, it's crazy, man. I'm curious too. Just that fight, if y'all haven't seen it, go look up Roman Faraldo at Bellator. I think if that first round goes an extra 30 seconds, you knock him out in the first. As a fighter, is it more frustrating or is it more exciting when he gets saved by the bell? Because, like, yeah, you know you're going to knock him out next round, but is there a little bit of that voice in the back of your mind, like 30 more seconds he's on the canvas?
Yeah. You know, I think it all depends on who you're fighting. In that moment, when I clipped him, I knew I had him. You know, after I clipped him, I knew I had broke him. Right at the end of that round, I broke him, and I was like, I got it. Just keep, you know, stay tactical. Don't rush it, and it's gonna come. So it was actually more of like it's coming. You know, it was a reassuring moment. I went to the corner and I was like, I got his ass. Like, I'm gonna finish in this round. So it was reassuring. But then there's also guys who, like, you know, you clip them and you give them that second chance. It's like, I wish I should have got him out. You know, so I think it all varies on who you're fighting and you know, exactly where you're at in the fight. You know, if you're losing and you catch somebody like that, and then the bell rings, you're like, shit.
Yeah. So how in depth is y'all's scouting process going into a fight? I mean, can you walk us through who does the initial breakdown of their tape? I mean, does each of your striking, your wrestling, your jiu-jitsu coaches all watch that element of their game? Or how does that look?
So it's like a film study, basically. I think.
Yeah, like is there film study like football? I mean, you know, I'm really curious.
I mean, for the most part, all my coaches watch who I'm fighting. They get the name, they watch, they give me their intel, and, you know, I do what I watch it. I don't watch. A big thing for me is I don't like to sit here and watch it and rewatch it and watch it and rewatch it. I think it's a little much, and then I think that's also like a psyche thing. You tend to psych yourself out. I've watched him fight. I've watched his fights. I've watched maybe 2 or 3 of his fights, and I see tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
I see where he's susceptible to getting hit and what he's susceptible to getting taken down, or what's going to work in the fight. And that's it. That's all I need. You know, I'm like, all right, these are the openings. This is what I'm going to work. And I go from there. And because inevitably too, you also got to think he fought on the same card as me. He's not going to be the same guy. You know, I'm watching this fight. I'm studying these fights. He could have easily made improvements in his game. So I have to be able to adapt to the moment as it is anyway.
Sure.
So we're going to go in with a game plan, right? We have a game plan. We have an idea of what we want to do. And we, you know, we're very confident in that game plan. But, you know, it happens, bro. You know, you can't can't go into a game plan. It's like football. Yo, our plan was to score, run the ball, control the clock. Well, guess what? Buddy's up 14-3 on you. You got to pass the ball. You're not just going to keep running the clock out, are you? You're gonna, you know, so.
Bro, it's like your original influence. Mike Tyson said, "Man, everyone's got a plan until you punch in the mouth." And it's smart to hear you say that. You know, I think
yeah, I mean, like you said, he's not going to be the same person. So dedicated to a plan, maybe you think, oh, his kicks are weak. Well, if Homeboy's been working on his kicks for 12 weeks and he comes out and the first thing he throws is a great kick, you're going to be like, oh shit, like that's what I was going to exploit was his kicks. And now he just kicked me in the ribs and I can't breathe.
Yeah. So, and then now this whole, like, this plan that you had in your head where you've been game planning, like you said, for 12 weeks, that's out the window. What do you almost mentally break yourself. Nah, I know what I want to do.
No, but it throws you off. It'll throw you off and throw a wrench.
You just got to scratch it, basically. And that's when your team, is the most important part of your entire thing, your corner. Like, like, okay, this is the adjustments now, because obviously plan A is not working. And that's why it's really good. You have Paulino there. And I'm pretty sure that also at ATT, you've been exposed to, Coach Mike Brown as well, because he's probably one of the best in the business as well, too, there. And you train with probably some of the best, fighters I've seen, like Luis Pena, I've seen with you, on Instagram, stuff like that. He's one of my favorite fighters. So I'm a huge Luis Pena guy. But I mean, you have that sort of thing.
Super flow. I got my dude Jocko that I work with. He's the second coming of the Polish Power. He's a middleweight. He's a gangster. I've actually been spending. Granted, you get your length in there when you can. I got my dude Rafael. He was a former middleweight Bellator champion.
Mm-hmm.
He's a gangster. I've been working with my dude Sabat, Sleek Chic. He's getting ready to fight Paul Daly. I've been helping him get ready for Paul Daly. Yeah, dude, he's getting my buddy Sabat. I've been helping him get ready to fight Paul. Because nothing for nothing. These are my money makers right here, brother. When time comes, I'll be putting these bangers on Paul too. So it is what it is. But
boy, I'm curious about that. Like, do you? Because like you said, you're walking down into the cage, you see Monster, you see Modelo, you see Bellator, and like, holy cow, like I'm in the show, so has your mindset shifted when you watch like a big time UFC fight? Look, no DB goes in the NFL thinking I can't pick off Tom Brady. Have you started to shift to like, I could bang with GSP. Drake knows the names better than I do, but like I could bang with the greats. Like I can do that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the biggest reassurance there was making the move to American Top Team, being able to actually train with these guys who are there. Like these guys they're either in the UFC, they're either in Bellator, or they're in ONE FC. The three biggest promotions, we have multiple champions in each promotion. So, or PFL, excuse me, that one as well. So it's like we have multiple champions in multiple promotions. These are the best guys in the world and women. And it's like you're there and you're training with them. And you're like, oh, dude, like you're 22-4 and you're in the UFC and you're on a 5-fight win streak, bro. And nothing for nothing. I just gave you the bangers, bro. Like,
who was the first one when you got to ATT that gave you that, like, all right, Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore? Like, what was the moment that sticks out in your mind? That was it a punch during a sparring? Was it a takedown? Like, who was it and what happened that made you realize, like, oh shit, these are the big boys? Or was it just seeing the belts on the wall and like seeing these dudes you'd seen on TV walk by, just kind of that moment itself?
Yeah, that was pretty surreal moment. I'm sitting there stretching, and I watched Andre Arlovsky walk by. I watched Junior Dos Santos walk by. George obviously walks by. Maricano walks by. Mauricio, I'm trying to remember his last name. Maricano, but he's a gangster.
Renato Maricano, you talking about that guy?
Yeah. That was a realization for me when I worked with him for the first time, because he's a 55er and he's just as big as me, and he fucking his jiu-jitsu is
top notch. It's sickening. It's probably some of the most beautiful transition work you'll ever see in BJJ.
He worked me for a few rounds, and I was like, man, I gotta really improve here. And then right after that, I went with my dude Austin Vanford, he's 10-0 in Bellator.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically dry humped me up and down the match for another 3 rounds.
And he's a big guy too, man.
a little bit of man love, just working on each other's game.
And they call him the gentleman too. It's like, oh, thanks, bro. It's like, oh, no problem, man. Thanks for the work,
It's like a Canadian hockey player. You ever see those videos where they're mic'd up and they're like, you want to scrap when he drops the puck? Sure. They'll beat the shit out of each other and be like, okay, good fight, buddy. Yeah, buddy, you too. See you after the penalty.
Yeah, he's from Alaska, so it makes sense.
Oh, of course.
So it's like, and you know, and then I get to work with I actually started working with my buddy Johnny Eblin before I actually made the move to American Top Team, and you know, just different things. I would help him with some striking, some techniques that I was going through at the time. He was helping me with some wrestling, even going with him. Love you guys, have fun, and even working with him, bro, has been awesome for me because, you know, I see him. He has great transitions. He's George's like main training program at this time, you know, and you know, getting to work with him has been awesome, and I get to help him out. And he has a guy that's actually very similar to me that he's about to fight in May. So I've been helping him when, you know, the opportunity presents himself when I can. But you know, you find yourself on the mat with these guys, and then you see like you get to see your growth there. Like I remember, I didn't even know who he was at the time, but the Yaroslav Amanov. I didn't know who he was. We got on the match. He's like, you want to go? You want to, Ukrainian? You want to go? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Typically, I wrestle bears, but today I wrestle you.
I wrestle bears for a living, but you will suffice for today.
Had no clue he has the best record in MMA currently, and it's 26-0, and he's the #1 welterweight in Bellator, and but you know, obviously behind the champion Douglas Lima, and you know, I start working with him, and like I'm moving. And I'm touching him. He's touching me with striking. I'm like, damn, he has really like his timing is it's different. He has a way to break. He breaks the timing very good, and he has more than anything. He understands his transitions from his striking to his takedowns, and understands I'm gonna throw the jab. He's gonna throw this back, and then he's shooting. It's like he's next level. But I started going with him. I'm like, oh man, this guy's pretty good. And then sure enough, you know, we get going, and then come to find out he's the best dude, legit. Like he has the best record in MMA at this point, at this juncture in MMA. And you're like, holy shit, man! Like that guy's really good.
Yeah, but you didn't get like, but then you have that moment too, right? Of like, yeah, but you didn't get blown off the mat. You know, like you belong there. Like you were on the box with him. You're in the circle. You're doing your thing, and it's like, hey, maybe I think I can do a little something.
Yeah, maybe I can do something. And then the next day you work with him again, and then he's like, oh no, you have. The next day you work on your grappling, and then he's taking you down, he's submitting you, and he's letting you start from better positions, and he's working out of them. You're like, bro, holy shit. So it's like it's all a growth process, and that's the best part too, is the fact that in that time I've seen where I am good at, what I need to improve on, and then I've seen where I improved and how much better I've become. And like now, you know, it's like, oh, you know, I'm working with these guys. You know, they're not taking me down as frequently. When they do, if it does happen, I'm getting up to my feet. You know, in the striking exchanges, I'm winning the striking exchanges. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm improving as a fighter. You know, I'm improving in all facets of my game. And it's just reassuring being at this gym, because again, you're working with the best guys in the world. And
right.
Like, all right.
Yeah, you're with the cream of the crop, and you grow and learn, you know, every single day. You bring that, you know, white belt mentality. I've heard you say that before in your interviews, like you like grow and you learn and you improve your craft. And that's like that's a very good mindset to have coming in, especially, you know, you're making a decision to be a professional full time. So,
and the funny part is, like, you know, it's a cycle. I'm sure now, you know, whether you realize it or not, you're 100% part of that mythos now, where, you know, new kids come in the gym and they go, you know, it's like pointing to people around. The coach is like, yeah, he just got his first KO on Bellator. He's 6-0, you know, he's 6 or 5-0 as an amateur. Now he's undefeated professionally. Got a knockout. He's fighting next week, you know, and you're sort of becoming part of that.
I hope, you know, it's been really cool here. For this camp, I've been able to work closely with Mike Brown, and that's been a big thing for me, because I've been a big move of another big reason why I moved to ATT. Not only was it for the competition, but for the coaching, man. I've been really trying to get, you know, work with him, and nothing for nothing. I mean, coach of the year, you get to pick who you want. You know, three-time coach of the year. Excuse me. You get to pick who you want to work with. You know, yeah. So, you know, him calling me to work with him and work with Saban and work with these guys it's again more reassurance that, you know, like he not only does he see it, he wants me to work with his guys because he knows I'm going to push his guys. It's been awesome, man.
Dude, it's sick to watch, man. Like you're definitely on the upward trajectory. It's like you're in the big promotion, you're at the big school, you're fighting with the best coach, or you're training with the best coach, you're fighting with the best partners. And dude, it's crazy. It's like, I think, you know, we think back to 5-6 years ago, just sitting around, you know, I do have one claim to fame though, Rome. I think
you may be the one Clydes and Standard security guard that never got to toss me out. And I don't know if that was because when you saw me, you chose to send someone else in. But, I don't know. So in a way, I'm like, I might be 1-0, but
want to know that?
no, I'm just kidding.
If anything, man, I was the guy keeping you in there.
Yeah, exactly. You're the one that was like,
you went to bat for all three of us whenever Max and Cam is going there.
Oh man. But dude, no, it's crazy. It's so cool to watch how you've matured. Or you were always a really mature guy, but how you've grown in this sport from, again, like you said, doing it as a serious hobby to like, holy, like you make your living doing this and you're going to fight the best in the world. And it's just been cool to watch. So we've got a couple personal quick hitters for you though, because we like to hit this. I know Drake's got one, but before I want to ask you first, when it's not MMA, what's your other go-to sport? And what team, obviously FSU football, but what's your favorite other sport? Who's your favorite team? What do you like to throw on the TV?
I mean, obviously, we're rocking FSU all day, but I will say I have like here recently, man. There's always NFL. I haven't been able to watch baseball. I just can't. Like I grew up playing baseball. I haven't followed baseball in years. Basketball. The only time I watch basketball is during the playoffs. Because it seems like that's the only time. NFL is probably the one sport that I stay consistent with. And I'm gonna chalk that up as fantasy football league. You have the competition with the fellas. You gotta pick your teams. You gotta stay up to date with what's going on. So
y'all have an ATT fantasy league?
There's multiple there.
Now we gotta ask about this. Yeah, who's the best?
Who's the best in there?
Yeah, bro. So Richie had our GM last year. Richie Puma had a pretty good team. Austin had a pretty good team. I fell apart last year. I don't know what I was doing last year. I was making some risky plays or risky drafts, and they all fell out. Edelman tested positive. Le'Veon didn't play any. Who else did I have? The only player I had that really did anything for me, my QB was terrible. He was in and out. I think I got Wentz, and he didn't play. He had played half the year. Kamara was the only consistent. Yeah, Kamara was the only consistent guy for me. I had Fuller. He tested positive, so he got kicked out. And my tight end, Ertz, he got hurt too. Like,
bro, your team is just a walking, just non-starting team.
It happens.
So last year was just a no-go. The year prior, I played second, and then all of a sudden I'm like, worse in the league. So it happens that way, But that's how it plays out, man.
That's hilarious. But so then one of my quick questions, because I remember over at the USA there's something called the PI, and typically there's like one big dog that runs the music that goes on. So I want to ask you, like, if Mike Brown, like, hey, listen, Rome, you are in charge of music for the entire day. What are you playing the entire day for training?
If I'm in charge of the music, man, it's gonna be I got a playlist right now. I always make a playlist for my camps, and I'll listen to them. There'll be about anywhere, and I'll just add songs on through the camp. But there'll be anywhere from like 15 to 20 songs, and they all range. But for the most part, man, I love warming up to some salsa, some reggaeton. Something that gets my feet loose, I start flowing, some suavemente. I start getting
call the two in the notes.
we said this before. We said this in pre-pro. We're like Rome's got a little bit of that Spanish flavor. I remember Rome's go-to line in college. I'll never forget. You said it. Hey ma. You always nailed it. You're like, hey ma. I was like, dude, he nails it. I can picture that with some salsa. You're in some salsa.
But
car girl walks by. You're like, "Hey, ma, you round okay? You won't have to hold up round 3 for me. Don't worry."
So no, I get some Spanish on there, man. Get loose, get my rhythm going, and then I'll probably throw some James Brown on there. Yeah, bro, super bad. I'm super bad. That shit gets me flowing, bro. And I'm telling you, I was listening to that all week for my last fight week, man.
Dude, it's always the weirdest songs that just like, they get you into it.
It gets me into it, man. You get some gangster rap in there every once in a while, but nothing crazy, nothing that gets you too like amped up, bro. I got some rock, I got some hardcore rock that I listen to when I lift and stuff. But if you listen to that going into a fight, man, it gets your blood boiling, bro. I get a little more calm. I listen. When I fought Lucas Cortez, I walked out to We Ready, and I was so jacked up. Like I remember that.
I watched that video on YouTube. You looked just a man, but you're just like, oh, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
What does he walk out to in like the new, you know, when he's old, like the new Rocky, right? Like he goes to do his walkout and it's like Frank Sinatra, and they're just like,
yeah, smooth.
like,
smooth.
yeah, man, I'm just like getting into the fight.
I'm waiting for my first world title fight, and I'm walking out to Phil Collins in the air tonight.
Yes.
That's awesome. I mean,
Please. And then hit the drum solo with your hands while you're walking. You give him the air drums.
Yeah, that's gonna be when my first world title fight. I will be walking out to that.
I mean,
I can't wait to see you be in that world title.
That's
fight.
better than hearing Mike Perry walk out the Jar of Hearts just randomly in the last UFC fight that he was in. I was dying laughing. He's like, "This is the wrong song," and he's just still bumping to him. I'm like, as a certified psychopath.
Yeah, too.
So do you? So then we got your walkout. We know your music. After you weigh in, it's a little different, I guess. You have 24 hours. You got to fight. Fight's over. You don't do a huge cut, but we know you're you look like you're pretty cut up right now. You diet, you take it seriously. I know for a fact, either Saturday or Sunday night after you win, you're getting a celebratory meal. What are you grubbing on? What are you going to put down?
You know, and it's never just one thing. To be honest with you,
Bro, I feel that. Do you have? So for me, it was always go get a Chick-fil-A sandwich and then grab some curly fries from Arby's, like after a huge cut week.
That's a combo, man. That's a hell of a combo.
What's your?
I'll be honest, man. And nothing. I'm a little bougie, bro. When it comes to like the
I'm not surprised by that,
bro. I get bougie, bro. I'll go. We'll go get some sushi. We'll go get. And like the great thing about Mohegan, son. That's what we fought last time. There's just a chain of restaurants, and it's all quality food. So it's like I got sushi that night. There's a buffet and that people don't know about. That's like for the actual like casino workers and people that know about it. So I went into the buffet. I got the buffet. I went back out. I went and got a burger. After that, I want to say, what else did I have? I had something. I had a wrap, a chicken, like a turkey wrap, and then I had some I was just whatever was there. I was eating, and then usually it's something salty first, and then I'll get into the sweets the next day. Sundays, Saturday night salty. I need like steak. I need red meat. I need fish. I need pasta. I need rice. And
then you are bougie as hell.
I love it, man. And then what about what's your reset period? So you go out there, you kick some ass on a Saturday, you get a KO, TKO, whatever. How long do you give yourself to just unplug, mentally decompress before you get back into it?
It all varies. I think like for me, it's kind of like a mental. Again, come back to like the mental side of it. It's kind of like a mental like I don't know, uplifter when I go fight on Saturday and I'm back in the gym on Monday.
Okay, so you kind of feed off it. You like to get right back in there and just keep going.
It makes me feel like I'm Iron Man. And so I jump right back into it. And don't get me wrong, I'll do that for a couple days. I won't stay there like every day and I won't go hard. But I promise a couple guys that when I get back that I'll help them train. But that first week I'll do a few days of training and then I kind of I taper off. I don't. Yep. It's not like fight cut straight off. I don't like that. I feel like that fall off is what a lot of people don't see on this side is there's this real peak to this game. There's this build up where it's like super flat. You're not really hearing anything. Nobody's talking to you. Every once in a while, when's your next fight? It's like the stock market. It's all low. And then all of a sudden it'll just skyrocket. Fight week, fight week. You post a post. Everybody's hitting you up. When's the fight? This, that, and third. You fight, you win. You right? You win.
Yeah.
Big. Now you're really up top, bro. You're like your emotions, everything, your endorphins are all peaking super high. And then the next day, it's done. 15 minutes, you're done. It's over. So that people try to sustain all those endorphins, that dopamine flood it's real, bro. There's a high and then there's a low. So
absolutely.
people, and I think that a lot of times you see fighters and like even like other athletes, they have these, and people don't understand what it is. Like, oh, how could he go out and get so hammered and do something so stupid? It's like, bro, you don't understand the high he was just on, and it's like, so
Look at what he sacrificed for us. What do y'all run 12-week camps? So you run a 12-week camp, and it's like you said, I mean, we heard you say like, say peace out to him. I mean, it's like your boy's going out right now, and look, you're human. You're a good looking dude. You're in South Florida. Like, it's Friday night and you're choosing to be here with us, talking to us, being on your diet and shit. So I get it.
I also am devoted.
Of course. I didn't mean to imply that. Of course.
So, but just got to throw that out there. But definitely.
And is she going to be there ringside or? Well, I guess it's in Connecticut. So can she be there?
She won't be there. She won't be ringside. She can't take. She's actually a little info. She's due in July. So,
no.
Oh,
really?
Congrats.
Do y'all know? Can you tell us, boy or girl?
It's a girl. It's a girl.
Oh,
as a girl dad, bro, I'm telling you, I wanted a boy so bad, and I'm so happy I didn't get what I wanted. You're gonna love, and she's gonna beat the shit out of you. Just wait, like around 2.5. I'm serious. My 3.5-year-old, bro, she loves to wrestle. I've already started teaching her. I'll be like, you want to wrestle? I get her in the collar tie, and she kind of, I'll ankle pick her real quick. She loves the ankle pick because she thinks it's hilarious. So I'll hit her with one of those.
No, it's awesome. Yeah, man, I'm super excited. So now she'll be there. Bro. She, the stress isn't really good for her at the moment, so she doesn't want to fight.
Yeah, of course.
No, understandable.
She'll be there. So, but no, you're right though. Like, I'm not going out, and then after the fight, you get this amazing high. You get to spend it with your family and stuff. So, what I don't like to do is just stay on that. I try to get right back to the gym because there's a balance. There's a balance to me getting back in the gym, man. That makes me when I go back to the gym on Monday, I feel like that centers me. It grounds me, and I'm like, all right, look, like it happened. That was the game. That's what we did. We went and did exactly what we were supposed to do. Don't get wrapped up in the W. Like it's one win.
So I was going to ask that, like with your teammates, again, I mean, that's got to be the benefit of being at an American top team is like, you roll in and it's like, yeah, I just won my second Bellator fight, or I just won, let's go back a few months. Like, I just won my first Bellator fight. Like you said, the guy you trained was like, cool, man, I've won 26 of them. Like, and
you got Dustin Poirier. Like, hey, I was the interim champ there.
Like, I've had a belt before, buddy. Like,
I was training with Dustin yesterday.
No, you did not.
Yeah.
Dustin, that's sick.
He's a gangster. He's been helping Cody Law get ready for his fight.
Okay.
And yeah, man, Dustin's he's very informative. Me and Sabat were going over positions, and Dustin was able to chime in. And but no, it's dope, man. And that's the point. That's what I'm saying. Like, you get to work with him. It's like, yeah, bro. So you just won your second Bellator fight. You're 5-0. Great. Homie has upwards of 40 fights. That's like 1/9 of his fights. Like,
right.
Get over yourself. You have a lot of work to do. So inevitably, it's just you get right back to it, and it grounds me, and it just reassures me that, all right, we did exactly what we said we were gonna do. We went out there and did it. Let's get back to work, man. Work ain't over. And you didn't, you did it, you won. Congrats. Yep. Let's do it again. And, eventually, I've given myself a window on this. I feel like a lot of guys, at least for myself, I shouldn't say a lot of guys, but I speak for myself. It kind of, it puts a time limit on it. So it makes it like, I got to work at it. I gave myself a time limit in this career. A lot of guys, I feel like they think it's gonna last forever. And I gave myself a 10-year window. Like, when I went pro, I guess when I go pro, I got 10 years in this to do what I want to do, and then I'm out. And it kind of it keeps that that fire. It keeps your back against the wall. Like, keep moving, bro. Yep. Keep moving. Like, don't you can't just settle down and think, oh, I'll be all right. I'll take my time. It's like, don't get me wrong. I'm not in any rush. I'm not pushing. I'm not rushing and trying to overdo things, but I'm on the move, man. I'm constantly growing. I'm constantly getting better. So like I said, just right after the fight, getting back into it, you got all those endorphins going. You go back to the gym, everybody congratulates you, and the coach says, "All right, on the mat, let's go." Back on it.
Sprint's cardio, but they always say, the dream is free, but the hustle is sold separately. So it's really good to hear that you go straight back into the gym, right after your fight, just not hit the ground running, but just keep yourself, in that sort of shape, like, well-rounded thing. And then I guess one of my last questions, I always like to ask this. is that if you had one fighter that you can, step into the cage, with dead or alive, if you have one fight, who would it be?
Ooh, who would I choose to fight if I could fight any man?
Any person, dead or alive, like just anybody.
And I've been watching, and it's crazy that, I don't know if you noticed the war hack. I've been watching consistently the Four Kings, man. I've been watching crazy amount of film on Roberto Duran. I've been watching film on Sugar Ray Leonard, and I think probably the most influential out of the three. I not that I got anything against Tommy Hearns, just I was never really a big fan of his.
Nah, I feel you.
Yeah, it was Marvin Hagler, Marvelous Marvin. War. One thing on my mind right now is war. That's all I'm thinking about. Feeding the face, starving the doubt. And I've been watching film on him, and his ability, like, not only is it like he's a great boxer mentally, his conditioning is just like absurd. Never slows down. Always, always putting the pace on. Always moving forward. But I would say Marvin Hagler, man. Just because I know the kind of guy he is. Like, he's not gonna. There's no. Joe Rogan says, like, dude, that guy's gonna take you to the end of the earth, man.
Yeah, that dude's an absolute just like warrior, like, in the ring. Yeah, that man, it was just beautiful to watch him. And I thought he won the Leonard fight, in my personal opinion, too. But hey.
Yeah, it was a good fight. And Leonard fought very smart. He did, and he made sure he had all the advantages there. That was a good fight. I had Hagler coming back in the later rounds and winning it, but
yeah,
that's boxing. But is what it is, man. But also, even a testament to Hagler, how he handled it. He said, "You know what? I'm done." Never came back after that fight. Never. No, you go off me whatever money you want. Don't care. I know what you guys are about. You're going to cheat me out of this. You've done it before. They cheated him out of a fight, his first title fight. One, they made him wait like 40 fights. He was like 42-1 or something like that before they actually gave him a title fight. Then it went to the decisions. They called it a draw instead of giving it to him. And it's like, so just on his, like, for him to be like, you know what, I did everything. I worked, I proved that I was the best, and you guys still try to take it away from me. I'm done. I have a lot of respect for him, but that guy, you know what you're gonna get when you fight a guy like him. He's gonna like I said, he's gonna take you to the end of the earth. If you want to see how far you're willing to go, he's gonna take you there. And I like that. I like that. I feel like you only get that with certain people. And I see, who I see that with too, and you can see it in the eyes, man. George, bro. I see George. Jorge has that in his eyes, bro. He has that, bro. You want to go? He's a dog. You want to go? However far you want to go, bro. The rounds don't matter. If there wasn't a clock and there wasn't judges, he would sit there and fight you to the end, bro. Whoever's gonna.
Yeah, and I remember seeing him in those old school, Kimbo fights too back in the day. Like, I watched a lot of that stuff with that, and like. You saw it also with it's a testament when we fought Usman, I think in like less than a week's notice, like making that cut, which is a huge cut. And that even though like he wasn't the best version of himself, but like, you just see that he has that sort of just like that killer mentality look in his eyes that just like he's gonna take it to hell and back.
Yeah. Either you're gonna give up or I'm gonna die. And I like that, man. I some people might think it's crazy. I admire that because there's an honesty there that like a lot of people try to like create a facade about it. Like, oh, I'm willing to go there. No, you're not.
No, they're not about that. He's about that life.
Dude, everyone has their moment, right? Of like, I could have done it, but and I think the difference between the greats and the people that talk about it are the greats don't have that but, right? And even with, I could be great at this if I just had a little more time. I could be great at this, but I had this injury, and the greats, they don't say that word. It's just like, I didn't have a choice. I was going to be great at it no matter what.
I'm going to be great. I'm going to be great.
And it's crazy to hear you talk about it just like so maturely, you really seem to, not that, you would, we knew you would, but you're not doing this thing half cocked. You know what you're fighting for, why you're doing it, what you're doing, you have a plan, and it sounds like you're ready to bang. So, Give us the prediction, man. What are you going to do to the Scarecrow? Don't tell us your game plan, because I know he listens to this. He's obviously trying to get any competitive advantage he can. But what are you going to do to the Scarecrow? What's the Roman Faraldo official prediction for next Saturday?
Official prediction. I'm gonna break his will. I'm gonna break his spirit in the first round, and then I'm gonna take it in the second.
I love it, man. I can't wait to watch. We're going to look up all the official times, and folks, my pre-recorded voice will come to you in 5 seconds and tell you exactly where to watch it. Fellow Phi Delta Theta brother, Florida State guy. We got Roman Faraldo in here fighting in Bellator 255 against the Scarecrow. He's about to go 2-0, and this has probably been one of the most fun interviews I've ever done. Drake, I know you love this because you're a huge MMA guy.
I love. I mean, this is Roman. I love like talking, MMA, mixed martial arts with anybody, and like talking to you as somebody that that lives and breathes and actually is like part of something huge. It's like thank you so much for coming on, man. Seriously.
Thank you guys for having me, man. It's been awesome, bro. I really appreciate it, dude. It's also been awesome just catching up with you guys, dude.
Absolutely, bro. Just promise us, man, you'll come back when you're getting ready to. You know what? Maybe I always need an excuse to go there. So maybe when you're fighting on the big card in Vegas, we'll do a live interview with you.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. That one, man. Thank you guys so much.
Can't wait, brother. Thank you. We appreciate it. It's great talking to you.
See you, guys.
See you, bro.
See ya.